Hello, this is the Blast Report podcast on all things blasting. My name is Thibaud with New Wave Consulting, and I want to thank all the drill and blast teams along with those supporting them who are out there on the pattern. The production team at BlastThink and I would like to welcome you to today's episode of the Blast Report podcast.
This episode was brought to you by BlastThink. We are proud to be the first and only communication, marketing, and advertising agency specially focused on blasting solutions, explosives engineering, and the global mining industry. Our expertise extends from Portugal to a global scale, and we are proficient in developing marketing strategies in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. At BlastThink, we are not afraid to be bold. It's our ambition to take your brand to the next level. So visit our portfolio at blastthink.com and let's start an explosion together.
I'll give you guys one more story. So
Yeah, please.
Nice.
when went to West Virginia, all I knew is how to make the stuff. I had no idea what to do with it. So there was a guy that was the blaster in charge, my mentor, the guy I was supposed to learn from.
Who's that?
Guy's name was Jerry McDonald. Long gone now. Jerry was a truck driver that became a blaster, and this is the guy. We shot a bunch of conventional blasting. Was you took 0 through 20 and electric caps, and you put them in a V, and you hooked a blasting box up to them and shot them. That was blasting back then. So anyway,
Measured the resistance.
yep,
Make
you
sure-
divided and
yep.
balanced the series and all that stuff. So anyway, there was no, this was before sequential timers even.
Mhm.
This is just good old straight blasting. So anyway, there was a quarry, they called it State Line Quarry because between West Virginia, Maryland, just south of Cumberland, Maryland, and you went through a gap in the mountain, and the quarry was right there. And it was for, I think the highway was 340. Hercules had a ballistics plant about 4 or 5 miles up the road on the West Virginia side. All the people came out of Cumberland, Maryland that worked there. Well, this was in the spring, and there was the high wall is 97 feet was average. It ran from 86 up to almost 100, but it wasn't a big shot, but it was 16 holes, all well drill, and it was right out in the front of the quarry face. So they had actually shot back in and set the plant on this side. But this is going to sound bizarre, but this is the truth. Well, they'd actually driven this mountain back, and that's what they used, the road. They took the rock to build this 340 that went from 220 in Maryland, all the way to Romney, West Virginia on the other side. And the ballistics plant said, down here, like I said, 3-4 miles down on the south side of the road. So anyway, Jerry went up to load this shot. So when you drove, so basically you're driving right into a valley, just between two mountains, just straight into the valley. And here was the high wall. It's like 150 feet from the actual highway. That's how close it was. Well, they had cut back into the side of the mountain to the east side of it, because it faced north and south. So the east side of it, they cut back into the side of it. So they had their fuel dump, their fuel tanks right here for the loaders and all that kind of stuff. And then back alongside the mountain, then they had their block cinder building office. They had 1-inch steel road plate on top of the office. And that's because when they shot shots, rock would throw over the top and hit the office. So they just said, we'll fix this because everything was so close. So they just put steel plate on top of the office. And the shop, all the stuff had steel plate on top of it. So we went up and loaded this shot. You had to drive up around the east side of it, go up the side of the hill. So the office, there's on the office on the west. So the office is here. Drove on the east side, kind of went up around the top. And up here was where, and had a switchback up here. So you had to drive the powder truck into the switchback and then back it down to the shot where we're going to load the shot. So I've been at it long enough, 6-7 months. So Jerry said, well, you go ahead and load this. He said, I'm going to go down and load the toe holes. I know what snake holes is what they call them. Mm-hmm. Well, So what they did is that they had a toe at the bottom. They would bring in a wagon drill, an old air track, and they drill a bunch of small holes at the base of it, and you shot those along with the production blast to get that toe to come out. Okay.
The hard toe from the previous shot.
Yes, from the previous shot. It was 7, 8, 9 feet high, something like that. So I said, okay, so this is in March, I think it was early spring, beautiful day. Anyway, so we uploaded the thing, but we're still haven't got the time change, so things kind of get dark early. So anyway, so Jerry would download the toe holes. Well, my job was, I'm not making this stuff up, is that Jerry went back up to the switchback with the loader, the pit loader, and he would turn the bucket over, and he'd blast from up there. Well, we blocked the highway 340 both directions, going towards Cumberland, Maryland, and the ballistics plant. So it was like a 1.5 mile, 2 mile stretch. Right across from the entrance to the quarry, there was a dairy farm, and there was a stock pond out here just on the other side of the fence. So my job was to go out to the road, wasn't that far out, 100 feet or whatever, make sure guys are blocked both directions, wave my flag at them, they'd wave back, it's blocked, didn't have any way to communicate. So I'd walk back in, I'm not making this up, Jerry was up on the hill, I waved my flag at him, and I would get underneath the fuel dump, under the steel plate.
Sure.
So when he'd shoot the shot. So I'm standing here, I'm looking this direction, Jerry shoots the shot, and I knew it didn't sound right when it went off. And the entire shot went past me. Just went right past, all the way, and left a windrow on the state highway about 13 feet high, all the way through the fence and into the stock pond on the other side. This is like at 3:40 in the afternoon. The ballistic plant double shift lets out at 4 o'clock.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They're not going to come through there.
No.
Ain't going to happen.
So, and keep in mind that the pit loader is up on the hill where Jerry is. The only thing that's out here is a stock loader that loads the 10-wheel trucks that come in and out. You might as well mow the hayfield with a lawnmower.
Yeah.
So this guy, the dust finally settles. Jerry's up on top of the hill. I walk out. I'll give the guy credit. He's trying with this little yard loader to get the rock, but it wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't. He could pick up one rock and put it out of the way.
Yeah.
So it was going to take forever. So Jerry comes down. So the plant manager comes up to me and says, "What are we going to do?" I said, "You can't, we cut the power line or the telephone line, so you can't call out, or someplace you can call." He said, "Well, the dairy farmer." So the dairy farmer heard it. So he comes down the road. So he calls. So the dairy farmer asked him, he said, "Well, who do I call?" "It's a state line quarry." He said, "Well, call Maryland, call West Virginia," because he didn't know who to call. So by the time Jerry gets down there, there is state highway patrol from both sides. There's the county commissioners from both sides. There's like 10 people on both sides, lights going off all over the place. Jerry is on the stockpile now, out in the middle of the road, the muck pile, and he's walking from this side talking to these guys, and walking on this side talking to these guys. Well, I'm blaster in training, so I walk away. I said, "Jerry," I said, "You want me to start the shot report? It's my job to, fill out so I can understand all this stuff." So he said, "Nope, I got it." I said, "Okay." 15 minutes later, 5 more trips back and forth on the stockpile or the muck pile. I said, "Jerry, I can start the shot report." Jerry said, "Mike, get in your car and go home."
Oh.
So I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I got in my car and I went home. It was, by the time now, the thing is, it was like a 45-mile detour for the folks that were, to come back around. Yeah, all the way around to get, anyway. So 3 weeks, maybe a month later, we were up at Thomasville, West Virginia, shooting a sand plant up there, and I had to drive by the quarry. So Helen was just a great lady. So Helen was there, and I said, "Helen," I said, "remember the shot we did here a couple 3 weeks?" "Yeah, I remember the shot." I said, "Can I look at the shot report?"
Oh.
She said, "Yeah, you can," because Jerry filled it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know what you put on a shot report when something like, in case something like this happened to me,
Catastrophic.
what you put on a shot report. At the bottom of it, there's a line for comments, fragmentation or fly rock or shot was well broken, whatever the comments were on the bottom. So what I was really interested in is seeing what Jerry put on the bottom. In case this happened to me, I know what to put on it. Mick, I can't make this up. He had written on the bottom of the comments, shot looked well broken as it left the quarry.
Well broken and it
It
left the quarry.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blast Report podcast. I want to thank the team at BlastThink for producing this show, and please follow along for more episodes in the future, and share this podcast with your colleagues so we can continue to honor our industry and the people in it. Be safe and have a blast.